What up YouTube? It's your girl Rachel and congrats, we've made it back to another Wednesday. Before I left the United States, I had never left the continent before. I had assumed that coming to France would be a bit easier of a process just because it's another westernized society, it's very industrialized and it's very developed, and so I thought, oh, there's probably not going to be much of a difference. Maybe the buildings are going to look older because there's more history there and France has been obviously established longer than the United States. Other things along those lines, but I didn't realize how much of a difference there would be, especially between cultures, and so I'm going to start talking about that in a series today. On my bus ride home last week, I actually realized there was a lot more differences than I thought there were, because I was just drafting up a lot. My brain was going, I was thriving. I had 5 hours on a bus and I didn't get to sleep one bit, so I was being productive and I started coming up with ideas for future videos, and I realized that there are at least 25 different cultural differences, and I really want to be able to expand on all of them, so I'm not going to burden you with like a half-an-hour video today. I'm going to split them up, and I've tried kind of doing it a little bit by topic, so maybe more along the lines of food, along the lines of society, along the lines of academics. You can expect about 3 videos at least, though, to come out of this little mini-series within the big series. Over the next couple of months. So the first thing that had me shook when I came to France was within the first couple of days we went to a grocery store. Here they have this thing called Monoprix, which is basically like a Target I'm gonna go with. So before I left the United States, they had just passed a plastic bag law. Basically the plastic bag law that was passed in California at least was that you could no longer be given free plastic bags, those little kind of crinkly material plastic bags, at the grocery store. And the grocery store was kind of a vague term because clothing stores weren't really encompassed in this. For the most part, what I've observed was something that was known for selling groceries. They could no longer just give you a free plastic bag. They were charging 10 cents for a thicker material type of plastic bag, which I felt was really defeating the whole purpose because you could pay 10 cents for a bag and it was basically a plastic bag, but just a little bit thicker, and I mean, it wasn't really a significant value kind of plastic bag where you want to keep it or you'd really find use in having it and reusing it over time. So people are obviously just going to throw away these bags too. I didn't really find it to be an effective law. And so when I first came to France, getting back into the actual story that I should have been telling in the first place, I went to Monoprix, as I was saying, and I got to the checkout, and there were no bags in existence really at all. Even the 10-cent bag option was a paper bag, and I can give you, let me see if I have one. Here's my Primark bag. So they do this at even the clothing stores, they charge you for the bag because they'll scan it at the bottom. They have a little barcode. Oh, this one doesn't have a barcode. Where's the barcode? What the heck? Anyways, they'll give you a little barcode at the bottom and they usually initial it off, so if you decide to reuse it later on, they can look at the bottom and be like, oh, it's already initialed, which I think is not a good effective system, by the way. But anyways, they can look at the bottom and say it's already initialed, so someone's already bought this before. Here's an example of the thicker type of plastic bag that they do, especially in the US. This is their alternative to the thinner plastic bag material. This is their 10-cent option if you need to buy a bag desperately. And as you can tell, I mean, it's regular plastic. I mean, I would honestly use this once for trash and throw it away just like I would with a regular plastic bag. So I find it really ineffective, which is why everyone here really likes to buy these kind of bags, which are very durable, very thick. I mean, I've even had a knife go through the bottom of this bag because I take it to the kitchen when I have to go cook. And yeah, here's a little hole if you can see it. And I mean, it's really durable. I fold it up all the time. It's always sitting like this in my closet. It doesn't really get damaged from doing that. And I take it literally everywhere with me. And I mean, I think this is a smart idea. Okay, so this next one's kind of a two-parter I'm gonna go with. I don't really know how to classify this category, but I'm gonna go with drink wine, not water. Basically, the wine culture is very large here, which is to be expected. The drinking age is 18 to buy at a grocery store and 16 to be served at a club or in a bar and a pub. The beer, the wine, the champagne, all those kinds of drinks, they have bottles like that for 2 to 3 euros. That's the average. And so definitely it's very encouraged for people to drink here. And especially at restaurants, which is kind of what it segues into, it's definitely more common for people to order a glass of wine with their meal and do kind of the whole pairing with whatever they've ordered versus ordering water versus ordering a soda. And as a result, water is actually very hard to obtain, and that's something that I haven't been able to figure out about French culture yet, is where the hell are you getting your water intake for the day? Because they don't really advertise, you know, tap water. Like in America, you could go and be like, oh, can I get tap water? And they'll just bring you a glass of tap water. Here you really have to ask. Sometimes you might even get denied. And if you wanted to buy a regular bottle of water, buying the bottle of water is more expensive than ordering a glass of wine with your meal. So for anyone who's ever really studied French culture or learned anything about French people in general, you would probably have learned, first of all, right off the bat, that the French don't like breakfast. They really emphasize things on lunch. Lunch is a very important time of day to them, and lunch is considered their most important meal of the day. For instance, the post office, the bank, any kind of public building, or even any just thing that is not serving food at lunch hour will shut down for 2 hours so that their employees can have a lunch break. Lunch is seen as very important to them. They have multiple courses to their meals, and they're expected to eat a lot because a lot of them here will either maybe eat like a yogurt or a fruit or just drink a lot of coffee in the morning, but they don't even sometimes eat breakfast. They just go straight and save it for lunch. And then even after they eat lunch, they'll wait 5, 6, 7 hours even, because 7 or 8 is the acceptable time to eat dinner. And so you eat lunch strictly at 12. Their lunch break starts at 12. And then you hold it until 8. So I don't really know how their dieting works. Me, I get hungry every 2 hours, so it's been a real struggle here. But they just really love eating lunch and don't really see breakfast food as a thing, which has been very hard for me because I love brunch. I love the breakfast food culture. Something that I think ties in with this whole idea of not eating a lot or eating a lot in specific meals laid out in the day and really sticking to that 2 or 3 meal regimen for the day is their coffee and cigarette culture. The French drink a lot of coffee and they smoke a lot of cigarettes. And so it's really weird, especially because at home, my campus and a lot of other college campuses are no smoke zones or no smoke areas, and people get in trouble for smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, which is illegal. Smoking really anything on their campus. But here, it's kind of a free zone. They appreciate and understand the need to smoke a cigarette. And so my school, for instance, any outdoor zone is a, get in a jail free card, go for it. They have the little smoking areas and the little things to put your, I don't even know what the smoking terms are, to put the little dead end of the cigarette. They have all those all over the campus, and people just go out at lunch, breaks, whatever, and just have a conversation and smoke a cigarette. Same thing with coffee. There are mini coffee machines all over the place. There's one on the ground floor of my building. There's about 5 in my school campus. They're just all over the place, and there's automated machines that will give you these little tiny cups of coffee. They have really small drink portions here, drink sizes here in France. And the coffee, I don't know how to explain it, but it really packs the punch in the small amount that they give you, which is why I like the coffee here better, because it's more flavorful, it's smaller, it's done faster, and then you're just energetic for the rest of the day. I really like that about here, but I also think that these coffee and cigarette culture really contributes to the kind of suppression of the hunger that they obviously have to partake in if they go straight to lunch. Because me personally, I wake up starving in the morning. I have to have the fullest meal of the day, breakfast. And so I don't really understand why they would wait for lunch or just believe in only eating at lunch, because God, I am just so hungry in the morning. I don't know how they do it. I really cannot get up and function and even think until I've eaten food. So the kind of final point I'm going to try and make before I close this all up is the idea that eating out culture is not a big thing here in France. For French people, when they decide to go eat out, it's for special occasions, birthdays, proposals, weddings, things like that. And the food, similarly, at restaurants is kind of a high-class type of cuisine. It's stuff that a professional chef would make. As a result, something that I learned in my French class, actually, back in the United States, is that people in the US spend way more money, by tens of thousands of dollars, eating out a year than the French do, just because the French don't see as much value in eating out when they could cook indoors and then on a special occasion go out to eat. So, of course, restaurants are more expensive. In addition, fast food even is expensive. Fast food isn't really the same kind of culture in France as it is in the US. We do have a McDonald's, for instance, a Burger King here in France, but it's open from about 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. It has actual hours and isn't 24 hours. Even the fast food here is expensive. If I wanted to get maybe like a 4-piece chicken nugget with a medium fry and a soda, God forbid, soda's just not a thing here, then that would cost me about 6 or 7 euros, which is strange because in comparison, you could get the 20 for $5 back in the United States. And so this has really been hurting my chicken nugget addiction because I just want chicken nuggets, but they don't really have any at a reasonable price. I might as well just go and buy a full-on steak dinner if I wanted to have some kind of meat, because that's probably going to be the equivalent price of freaking chicken nuggets. In general, the eating out culture is very refined. It's a very uncommon thing to do. People do it for special occasions, just to kind of sum this all up. And in addition, the types of junk food and fat, carby types of calories, the soda, the candy, the burgers, fries, all those kind of fattening foods that are really common in the United States and are really cheap, and that's why our health is probably doing so badly and the obesity rates are so high, is because we make these fast food types of options so easily accessible and so inexpensive. That's not the case here. For instance, a candy bar. I went to go buy a Reese's at the grocery store the other day, and a candy bar, the 2 Reese's cups in the package, was €1.80. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? I mean, like, even a small soda is like €2 for a small soda. So obviously it is cheaper to get the wine option. They really do discourage a lot of products that are very common in the United States or come out of the United States, and maybe this is why they're thinner. I'm not entirely sure. I'm still kind of looking at the situation and trying to analyze it and why they're like this, but just between the eating out culture, the types of foods and drinks that they encourage, the meals that they emphasize, it's just really different. And it's been really interesting kind of observing this and also having to live through it over the past couple months because of the different types of food options that are available, the things that are more common in comparison to, you know, what I eat here versus what I would normally eat in the United States. So that is all for today's Cultural Differences episode. Expect a couple more at least, but if I keep talking this much, I'm gonna have to keep canceling points out of this one and moving them into other ones, so I'm really sorry. I just like talking a lot. Before I close this video off, I just wanted to take some time to emphasize watching my other videos so that you can understand what's kind of been going on in my life. And also check out my social media. I have those linked below. I have been diligently planning out my Instagram feed this entire trip, and I think my, you know, travel aesthetic is pretty on point. So definitely check that out. If you have any comments, if you have any other observations you've made when you've traveled around Europe, feel free to share because there's definitely a lot of things that I've seen and I'd love to talk to other people about it. And I will see you guys in a couple of days on my next vlog. So catch you on the flip side.